need your help with something. Can you explain to me what irony is?
Hey, Pete. Nice to see you. Yes, I'd be happy to help. So, irony is if something happens that you don't really expect it to happen. Does that make sense?
Someone was planning a surprise party for me and I didn't expect it. Would that be ironic?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me back up just a little bit. So, no, that would not necessarily be irony. Let's say that I tell you that you have 3 hours of homework to do tonight, and your response to me is, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I love homework. Can I have more?"
I would never ever say that. Homework.
Exactly, you've got it. You would not want more homework. So if you were saying that, you were being sarcastic. And it would be an example of irony because you really don't want more homework, even though you're saying that you do.
Can you give me another example, Miss Lai? I'm not sure I quite understand.
Absolutely. So let's say a policeman were to get robbed. Would you expect a policeman to get robbed?
I would not expect that at all.
Exactly. That's why it would be ironic because you would never expect that to happen. So, authors often use irony to make a point. Sometimes it might be to be funny or to add humor. Sometimes it might be to stress a theme. Sometimes it might be to build suspense. And there are actually three different types of irony.
I think I remember reading this. There's situational irony and verbal irony and dramatic irony. Is that right?
Exactly right, Pete. So let me give you another example. Let's see. What if a teacher failed the test? Would that be irony? And what type would it be?
To be situational. But what about dramatic irony? That one confuses me a little bit.
Okay, so that's a fair question. So dramatic irony exists when the audience knows something that other people don't know. For example, let's take Macbeth by Shakespeare. So in Macbeth appears to be loyal to Duncan, but he's actually plotting murder. And the audience knows that, but Duncan does not know that. That would be an example of dramatic irony.
Why do authors use irony? I don't quite understand that.
Oh my gosh, Pete, there are so many reasons why an author might use irony. It might be to be funny, it might be to build suspense. Let me give you an example. In the movie 10 Things I Hate About You, there's a girl cat and she's very cold. I don't know if you remember this story, but this boy, Patrick, wants to try to get close with her. And if he does, he's going to get money for it. It's like a bribe. But she starts to become less cold, and they both start falling for each other. We know the truth as the audience, and because of that, we start to feel sorry for Kat because she's being taken advantage of. So irony helps to establish or evoke certain emotions.
Okay, I think I'm getting a little bit better of an understanding about this. So, irony helps the reader to feel something, and it might be sympathy, it might be comical, it might be suspense, but it's usually connected to a theme in the story or a lesson. Is that right?
Is exactly right, Pete. Yay, I'm so proud of you. You know exactly what irony is.
Okay, so remember, irony is the opposite of what you might expect to happen. And there are three different types: situational, verbal, and of course, dramatic irony. So, most forms of irony display a disparity between what characters think can, should, or will happen and what actually transpires. And this is all meant to bring about feelings from each of the readers, whether it's excitement or sadness or anger, and it is always connected to the theme or the lesson of the story. There is a reason that the author uses irony. Irony can be very different on each reader, but it always plays a key role in moving the story forward. It is everywhere. And if you think about some of the movies you've watched before, or television shows, you've probably seen a lot of it. For example, Finding Nemo. Oh, that is one of my favorite stories. If you remember, though, in the story, Mr. Ray and Marlin are arguing about who can do a better job of watching Nemo so he doesn't get in trouble. And guess what happens? What happens? It's during their fighting that Nemo wanders off and gets in trouble. Or what about that movie with my good friends, Sullivan? Did you see that movie? Sullivan thinks Boo is in the trash compactor, but really, she fell out of a trash can and just toddled off. Sullivan has all sorts of reactions watching the different parts of the compactor smashing up, but she's not really in there. And isn't it funny that in the movie the monsters are actually scared? That's very strange. So, you should know what irony is. Now it's your turn to show me examples of irony.